And we're back with another episode of TST&T. And our site for this episode, Great American Ballpark, the home of the Cincinnati Reds, the oldest professional baseball club in the world. Obviously, we're not inside the stadium yet. You can already see there's a lot of history here. A lot of statues. We'll get into those guys. There's Charlie Hustle right there. You got Mr. Redlegs right there. Current day stars like Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah, there's a lot of detail to the Reds as a franchise and to this ballpark. So, yeah, we're going to get into it all. And there's going to be a longer pregame monologue through VO here. So, you already know what to do. Grab a popcorn, grab a beer, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
No time to waste. We're going to get right into the deep dive. Did you know that the Cincinnati Reds are the oldest professional baseball franchise in the world? They may not have the biggest brand. They're not the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Mets, the Phillies, or the Braves, all of whom have far larger brands and followings, but none of those franchises would even exist today if it weren't for the Cincinnati Reds. Yup, this is the club that invented professional baseball. It all started in 1866. A group of lawyers and businessmen formed an amateur baseball team. One of those men was Harry Wright, who was the founder and player manager of the team. Wright had previously played cricket professionally before switching to baseball. Wright and his crew would be named the Cincinnati Red Stockings because of their knee-high red socks. In 1869, they became the first baseball team to openly pay their players and sign their players to contracts. In other words, they were no longer an amateur team, they were now a professional team. Many other amateur clubs paid their players, but they did it under the table. The Red Stockings, on the other hand, they did it openly. They were not shy about it. Harry Wright essentially became the father of professional baseball when he made the decision to start giving his team salaries. This team was also the first to travel all over the country by train and turned professional baseball into a mainstream phenomenon. In their first season as a paid team in 1869, they had a perfect season, 57-0. The Red Stockings played their games at the Union Grounds, where Union Station is today. However, in 1870, with the cost of being a pro team becoming more and more expensive, the Cincinnati Club Board decided not to field the team in 1871. Harry Wright would eventually move to Boston to get a fresh start up there, and he started a new club called the Boston Red Stockings. You can learn more about the Boston Red Stockings and who they are now in the upper right-hand corner. Everyone else would scatter to other clubs across the country. The Cincinnati Ball Club would eventually come alive again and become a charter member of the National League in 1876. They would then move 2 miles to the north from the Union Grounds to the Avenue Grounds to be closer to neighborhoods and also be closer to the streetcar lines. All of that was key for selling tickets and making more money as professional baseball evolved. However, the Red Stockings caused a bit of a ruckus with the National League leadership when they played games on Sundays and sold alcohol at the games as well. Neither of those actions were even against league rules, but National League President William Holbert did not like that one bit. Even if they were quote-unquote unwritten rules, it was still very frowned upon in those days. Similar to Milwaukee, Cincinnati has a large German population, and if your city has a lot of Germans, chances are there's a lot of beer drinkers as well, and they will not take lightly to having their beers taken away. In 1880, during a league meeting, 7 of the 8 National League owners would vote to outlaw alcohol sales and play on Sundays. The one objection? You guessed it, Reds owner W.H. Kennett. Despite the new rules not even being in effect yet, the league would move to expel Cincinnati. So the team was down, but they weren't out. They would eventually restart yet again in 1882 in the American Association. Now they would play closer to the city center and play at another new and bigger yard called the Bank Street Grounds to accommodate the growing crowds. In 1884, their lease with the Bank Street Grounds expired, and they would move yet again to League Park, which was originally called American Park in reference to the league the team played in, the American Association. This league would cater more to Cincinnati fans by allowing both alcohol sales and games on Sundays. In 1890, the Red Stockings were allowed back into the National League, and thus the yard name changed to League Park. The franchise from this point forward has been in continuous operation and in the National League ever since. And it was around this time that sports writers began referring to the Red Stockings to simply as the Reds. This was likely done to avoid confusion with Harry Wright's new team in Boston, the aforementioned Boston Red Stockings. Eventually, the name stuck. It became a team staple, along with their classic wishbone C logo, which was first formed in 1905. Getting back to the ballpark bouncing, after a fire-wrecked League Park, the Reds would rebuild the place and erected a whole grand architectural masterpiece that became known as the Palace of the Fans. Inspired by the World's Fair in Chicago, the palace would be built in 1902, and it differentiated itself from other ballparks in pro baseball, which were much more bland. Despite the grandness of the place, it didn't have a ton of seats, only seating 12K. That may have been much larger than where the Reds have previously played, which were in the 3 to 4K range, but the team was gaining more and more popularity and the city's growth was skyrocketing. So in 1912, a new ballpark was built, Redland Field. Built atop the remnants of the yards that came before, it featured a double-deck grandstand and seated over 20K. Over the decades, Redland Field, eventually renamed Crosley Field in 1934, we'll get into that in a moment, it would reach a capacity as high as over 30K. This is one of baseball's most storied ballparks. It didn't just host the Reds for over 50 years, but it also hosted baseball's first ever night game in 1935, and it hosted the Reds' first World Series title team in 1919 when they beat the Chicago White Sox 5-3. That World Series title, however, had a foul smell to it, as several White Sox players were accused of throwing the series to win money from gamblers in the Black Sox scandal. The World Series still counts, as it was Chicago's scandal, not Cincinnati's, and the Reds played honestly the whole series. But the scandal took away that sweet taste of victory, and it did irreparable damage to the game. In the 1920s and into the early 30s, the team wasn't doing well. You know what also wasn't doing well? The economy. This, of course, was the Great Depression era. But then a local radio businessman named Powell Crosley came in and bought the team. Crosley wanted to ensure the team stayed alive through the Depression and stayed in Cincinnati, so he bought the team in 1934 and provided stability. The Reds' board of directors would then vote to name the ballpark after him, and thus came the name Crosley Field. I don't know about you, but I believe if you saved a beloved sports franchise from relocating, yeah, you've earned the right to have the place they play named after you, because that's a big freaking deal. As mentioned earlier, Crosley Field hosted baseball's first night game. In the 1930s, the Reds were struggling to attract fans, which put the team in danger of relocating in the first place. But a big reason why fans weren't coming was because of the Depression, and everyone was struggling. Not everyone could find a job, and even if you did find one, chances are you couldn't make it to the games because they went on during the day. So Crosley had an idea. Let's play at night. So lights were installed, and just like that, night games became a thing, and Reds attendance numbers skyrocketed. Not too long later, the Reds would win the World Series again in 1940, a series that wasn't impacted by gambling, so Reds fans could celebrate all they wanted without a cloud over their heads. We'll get back to winning World Series titles in a bit, but going back to the team name, the change from Red Stockings to Reds was more of a practical evolution. But in the mid-20th century, 1953 to be exact, the team would have to change its name for political reasons. It was the early years of the Cold War and the height of the Red Scare. A U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, Joseph McCarthy, took the anti-communist fervor to the extreme when he launched public hearings to investigate subversion and espionage allegedly done by communists. He often referred to communists as Reds, which became a derogatory term. Nobody wanted to do anything that could get you targeted by McCarthy, and the Reds baseball team wanted to stay out of his line of fire. So while honoring team tradition and keeping the word red in their name, they added the word legs into it to distance themselves from both McCarthy and communism. Thus, they became the Cincinnati Redlegs. It was also a bit of a nod to the original Red Stockings name because they, of course, are worn on your legs. McCarthy, though, would die of alcoholism and hepatitis in 1957. Following McCarthy's death in 1959, the team would switch back to Reds, and it has stayed that way since then. Now, in the 1960s, the Reds were in trouble. Team owner Bill DeWitt was not pleased with Crosley Field. Despite its long and storied history, the place was getting outdated, and there were many serious issues plaguing both the ballpark and the team. As mentioned, Crosley Field was built in 1912, and back in those days, fans would take trains or streetcars to the games, not cars. Crosley Field wasn't designed with cars in mind, and there were almost no parking lots nearby or room to put down anymore, and that was because the ballpark was in the middle of a neighborhood. So parking there, as you can imagine, was an absolute nightmare. Being in a neighborhood where crime often occurred also didn't help. The smaller capacity was also an issue. Major League Baseball as well as NFL teams were starting to build and play in multi-purpose stadiums that had far larger capacities and thus had more revenue potential. As mentioned, Crosley Field only seated roughly 30,000, and there wasn't any more room to expand. The lack of modern amenities, obstructed views, a hot and steamy clubhouse for the players, a field that was practically unplayable anytime it rained, and it was clear a new facility was needed. But would that new facility even be in Cincinnati? DeWitt was not only unhappy with the ballpark, but the attendance numbers were very low. And it became a question on if Cincinnati could even support a Major League Baseball team at all anymore. When word got out that the Reds were in danger of leaving town, a group of Cincinnati women decided to take matters into their own hands and form a group called the Rosie Reds. That's an acronym for Rooted, Organized to Stimulate Interest and Enthusiasm. These ladies rallied support, raised money, and would help the team boost their attendance and their revenue numbers. The Cincinnati Chamber of Commerce also got involved, and they would help rally community interest and get attendance and revenue numbers back up. All of that was great, but what really got the Reds to stay was the building of a new stadium that would go right on the Ohio River, literally called Riverfront Stadium. This stadium was 100% publicly financed by the city of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, and it featured a capacity of nearly 53,000, and it would open in the middle of the Reds' 1970 season. It was a shared multi-purpose stadium that the new NFL team, the Cincinnati Bengals, would also call home. In addition to the new place being built, the Reds would sign a 30-year lease to remain in Cincy. As we have gone over multiple times before, multi-purpose cookie-cutter stadiums were very common in the 1960s and 70s. This place would host some of the greatest teams in Reds and really all of baseball history, in particular, the Big Red Machine. Bill DeWitt in 1967 sold the team to a group of local investors led by Bob Howsam. Howsam would also become general manager and would eventually build that Big Red Machine, which delivered 4 National League pennants and 2 World Series championships in 1975 and 76. Riverfront Stadium hosted the World Series just months after opening in 1970, and it would host the Fall Classic 4 times in its first 7 years. The Reds would return to the top of the baseball world once again in 1990 when they swept the Oakland A's. That, to the date, is the most recent time the Reds have hoisted the Commissioner's Trophy. But that season was incredibly special, and not just because of the World Series title, but because the Reds were the clear-cut best team in baseball from start to finish. They were in first place in their division from opening day all the way through the regular season, a wire-to-wire season that had only been pulled off one other time by the 1984 Detroit Tigers. One more note on that team, and this is actually a weirder note. The owner of the team, Marge Schott, wasn't too happy about her team winning at all. She was actually pissed that the team swept the A's, because if the Reds had lost a game or two, Cincinnati would have gotten to host more World Series games and thus make more money. Because of that, she refused to fund a post-game team celebration. I mean, wow. Talk about being an asshole. There actually was a celebration, by the way, but it was paid for by the players. Anyway, by the 1990s, just like every other multi-purpose cookie-cutter stadium, it was starting to age and become increasingly obsolete. Because it was also designed for football, the baseball sight lines weren't very good. The layout, the seating bowl, and the field dimensions were all an awkward fit for baseball. In addition, just the overall wear and tear of constantly switching back and forth between baseball and football really took a toll on the stadium. Not to mention a lack of modern amenities, such as premium seating and entertainment options, that other newer ballparks had were not offered at Riverfront Stadium. The Reds weren't making the money that they needed to continue to be a competitive franchise and to be a viable franchise for the long haul in Cincinnati. Teams in smaller markets like the Reds need all the money they can get, and they need to maximize revenue streams. Sharing the place with the Bengals meant they had to split the revenue with them, and they couldn't keep the money all to themselves. Plus, scheduling conflicts with the Bengals didn't help either. Let's not forget it was around this time that Major League Baseball was shifting to modern, intimate, character-possessing, baseball-specific venues that the teams had full control over and could maximize their revenue streams. So in 1996, Hamilton County voters went to the polls to decide whether or not to give public funding for two separate venues, a football-specific one for the Bengals and a baseball-specific one for the Reds. The funding came from a 0.5% sales tax increase that county voters would approve of. Both of these places would be right nearby each other, and just like the place they shared, they would be sitting right on the banks of the Ohio River. The Reds in 1998 announced their new place would be immediately next to their current place, and it would seat over 43K today. The Reds were insistent that they stay on the riverfront. In 2000, Great American Insurance Company, a Cincinnati-based company whose headquarters is right nearby, announced a 30-year naming rights agreement. That same year, the Bengals moved out when they built Paul Brown and now Paycor Stadium. In the final 2 years of Riverfront Stadium, which was then renamed Synergy Field, as the new ballpark was being built in 2001 and 2002, a large chunk of the outfield seating was torn down to make room for it. At one point, the separation between the two venues was only 26 inches. It created weird but at least somewhat pleasant views as fans noticed a big wall in center field that was built to prevent easy home runs that fans would call the Black Monster as a bit of a play on the Green Monster at Fenway Park in Boston. But they could also see the new venue coming to life right next door, and vistas of the Ohio River would add just a sliver of character to it in the venue's final days. It was a bit of a preview for what's to come at this new ballpark, as it would have even better and permanent views of the river that separates Ohio and Kentucky. Great American Ballpark would open in 2003, and Reds fans have had the privilege of enjoying this wonderful ballpark ever since.
Here we are, the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. I've been told this is the best team-specific museum, not just in baseball, but in all of sports. Without further ado, let's get into it.
But make sure it's not wiggles.
Going over the City Connect jerseys, in 2026, the Reds unveiled their 2.0 City Connect, and their 1.0 is still available this year. I went ahead and got the 1.0. I love this. Love a black base with some red. It has this modernized C that looks very clean. We also have the Cincy across the chest instead of Reds or Cincinnati. Personally, I like city nicknames or team nicknames besides their official one on their jerseys. We also have the city motto here, Juncta Juvent. That means strength in unity in Latin. Finally, the Buckeye leaf is a nod to their home state of Ohio, the Buckeye State. On the 2.0, pinstripes have been worn on many past Reds uniforms. The pinstripes cut off at the shoulder, which is a nod to the Reds vest uniforms that they had back in the day. Cincy appears on the jock tag. On the sleeve patch is the fountain square, which has been a symbol for the city since the Tyler Davidson Fountain was first established in 1871, so it's nearly as old as the Reds team itself.
All right, it's game day. It's a lively atmosphere here in front of Great American Ballpark. Time to finally make our way inside. But before we do so, talk about this thing right here, the clock. So this thing is actually new this year in 2026, and it was donated to the Reds by none other than Reds legend Joey Votto. This is a wonderful piece of art.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the Redlegs. If they don't win, it's a shame, it's a damn shame. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of the old ball game.
All right, before we do our ballpark exploring, I just want to take a moment to say that this is Major League Ballpark number 10 for this channel. We're only 2 years into this thing, and we've already hit up an entire third of Major League Ballparks. How about that? I am incredibly blessed, grateful, and fortunate to be here. I could not have done it without your guys' support, so thank you all so much. And with that being said, let's get on with exploring Great American Ballpark. I should also mention that the Reds here are going to take on the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll be seeing 2 games between the Reds and the Cards. It's going to be a very red series. We'll begin our tour with a nice, gorgeous view here in the upper deck. Got the Ohio River and Kentucky over there on the other side. You gotta love it, man. You gotta love it. All right, let's get on with it. Optics district. I hope I'm saying that right, but yep, this is it. We have here a gigabar, and up here we even have a rooftop and a connection sky bar. It's a good place to watch the game. We got couches, we got ping pong, we got bags. Oh, that is wonderful. This is a great place to hang out for a Reds game. Oh, this is incredible. Love this. Wonderful. A nice view of the arena, the Heritage Bank Center. That is wonderful. And of course, of the lovely, mighty Ohio River. Splendid.
As we're walking along, we gotta take a moment to talk about opening day. You can't talk about baseball's opening day without talking about the Cincinnati Reds. Opening day in this town is a big freaking deal. A tradition unlike any other in baseball or sports in general. It's essentially a citywide holiday that features an entire parade. What other team does that? The Reds have been given at least somewhat special treatment by baseball for a long time, by always starting the Reds season at home instead of on the road. In 1882, in baseball's earlier days, Cincinnati was the southernmost Major League Baseball franchise and had warmer days and better weather in the spring than other cities like Boston, New York, Detroit, or Chicago. Their opponents were happy to make the trip to Southwest Ohio and play in warmer weather. Opponents of the Red Stockings on opening day even got a portion of the gate fee during the earlier days, and that was another reason opposing teams liked opening the season in Cincinnati. Thus, the opening day tradition was born. In 1889, the first official opening day celebration took place. The whole ballpark was decorated, and the Cincinnati Orchestra even performed a concert. In 1891, it turned into a full parade. The Red Stockings and their opponents rode into the yard on horse wagons, followed by marching bands. In 1920, after the Reds won the 1919 World Series, the folks that run the popular gathering spot Findlay Market turned opening day into a local holiday, and the Reds and the city have made it into a whole celebration and a beloved tradition. Every opening day, adults will play hooky from work, and kids will cut school to attend the parade and the game. And I sure don't blame them. I don't think you can either. In the words of author Fred Schwed Jr., the citizens of the Ohio City do not consider opening day as just opening day. They consider it one small notch below Christmas.
Time to try out the Skyline Chili. We're gonna get the double cheese conies. Here we go. Filming?
Yeah.
All right.
First time, best time, always.
Yes.
Give it a bite.
We got the cheese, the chili, the mustard, and the onions inside. Now, moment of truth. Let's give it a shot.
Interesting.
Yeah. So many flavors combining at once.
It's too many flavors.
Every time a Reds pitcher strikes out a batter,
What do we got? What's our rate here? We had a
Love the chili. A little too much cheese. That's all right.
Too much? I love it.
I'd say let's go with. Ooh, this is tough to rank. 7.5 out of 10.
There you go.
Taking a moment to talk about the Reds mascots, they have not one, not two, not three, but 4 mascots. That is wild. First up, we have Mr. Red, who's the team's original mascot, but he was actually not a mascot at all at first. He was the team's logo in the 1950s, and then he appeared in real life as the mascot in the 1970s. In the late 80s, Mr. Red was phased out, and the team went without a mascot. But in 1997, Mr. Red was brought back, but without a mustache. In 2003, when the Reds moved into Great American Ballpark, they created the absolute monstrosity that is Gapper. I believe the goal with Gapper was to try to appeal more to kids. And the kids here, they seem to like him. I can't believe he's lasted over 20 years. And I've got zero clue what he's supposed to be. He'll probably be in my nightmares. In 2007, the Reds technically brought back Mr. Red from the 70s, and it was the same baseball head with a mustache, but this guy was Mr. Redlegs. Personally, he's my favorite of the four. But then there's the female mascot, Rosie Red. Rosie was first introduced in 2008 as a tribute to the Rosie Reds organization, the women that kept their beloved Major League Baseball team in Cincinnati. The Rosie Reds organization still exists today as a prominent fan group that supports local causes.
There goes the fire. All right, one thing to know about those smokestacks is that you see that there's 7 bats on those smokestacks. 7 plus 7 equals 14. And 14 is the number of heat rows. Fun fact. Here's on top everywhere here. It's crazy. We do have a lot of breweries.
Let's go!
Oh, we did something stupid.
All right, we got the Big Red Smoky, we got the sauerkraut, the peppers. Let's try it out. One more bite. Very good. Very, very good. I will say, yeah, I got to give it 10 out of 10. It's phenomenal.
And it's a There's the fire again. All right, 6-5 game in the top of the 9th inning. 2 outs. Cards down to their last out. Can the Reds hang on?
Come on, man. Get him out of there!
Next batter walked, so we got runners on second, first. Still 2 outs. Jordan Walker up to bat for St. Louis. Let's see what happens. He hit a 3-run homer earlier. I believe he did. There you go, good start.
I won last year with everything besides this. I didn't look at it. We got a shitty
Damn it! Ouch. They at least get out of the inning with a tie game. Yeah, okay. All right. I guess we'll win the game in the bottom of the 9th. All right, E32 Cruz with a base hit. 1 out base hit. Let's see if the Reds can find a way to put him home. EDLC just got thrown out at second. Looks like they're challenging the call.
Let's see what we got here.
He got
So slow.
And then Blade struck out to end the inning. To extras, we go.
And we, of course, have the extra inning policy. We got the ghost runner on second. No outs. Let's see what happens here for the Cards. All right, we have another situation on our hands. Cincinnati believe they threw out the runner, the ghost runner that was on second. Did they? St. Louis thinks he's safe. Was he? The ball was out. We'll find out what the ump's saying in just a moment. Alright, we still got the ghost runner on second. They intentionally walked Sal Stewart. He's on first. Eugenio Suarez up to bat. Let's see what he can do. One swing of the bat away from a Reds victory. All right, so Suarez strikes out. McLean up next. All right. Now the Suarez or McLean was out at first. Still got runners on third, second. And up next, Spencer Steer. Let's make it happen. Count. Here we go. Damn it. Or no, that was a 3-1. Now it's full count. perfect song choice for this kind of situation. Damn it! All right, so I stepped away in the top of the 11th to recharge, but now I'm back. The Cards did not score. Still a 6-6 game, and yeah, man, this game is intense. Hope you're enjoying this. Right, that was Higgins with the sack bunt. Ghost Runner's now on third. One out. One swing of the bat is all it takes. And make it far. Doesn't even need to hit. It could be a sac fly. And we can get the hell out of here with the Reds W. Let's make it happen, Redlegs. All right. Walk. All right, Blake Dunn, leadoff hitter, coming to bat for Cincy. Make it happen. Let's go.
All right, St. Louis is challenging the call. I think he was safe. Runner is safe. Let's go. Wow. Wow, that was some heart-stopping action. Absolutely incredible. Down to the wire, extra innings. Wow, and it all came down to last play at the plate that got challenged by the Cards, but the call stood and the Reds picked up the win. Final score was Cincy 6, St. Louis, or Cincy 7, St. Louis 6. It's a late night now here in Cincinnati, but that was one hell of a game one, and we're not done yet. We're back at it for game 2 tomorrow, so remain tuned in. You will love the content that's coming your way. All right, we are going to be off to a delayed start due to rain in Cincinnati. We're expecting to start at about 2:15. In the meantime, let's try out some food. We'll begin with a Cincinnati pizza institution. That, of course, is La Rosa's. Looks good. Let's try it out. Try the crust. Very crunchy, thin crust pizza. Has some on my teeth. Pretty good. Not the best, obviously, but pretty darn good. I'll say 7 out of 10. right, let's check out the Montgomery Inn brisket and cheese hoagie in the middle of this rain. All right, yep. Let's give it a shot. Here we go. Let's get into the peppers. The bread's good, but it might be a little bit big for my liking. But the cheese, very good. Peppers are phenomenal. I'll give this a 9 out of 10. All right, we got here the Taft Gavel Banger. This, of course, is named after the president, William Howard Taft himself, a Cincinnati native, and he, of course, was a Supreme Court justice. Is this beer any good? Let's find out. Got the hiccups. Let's give it another sip. Not bad. Fruity, very fruity. It's decent. Doesn't blow me away, but I would have it again. Say 6.5 out of 10.
Box office is available. Questions as you exit. We appreciate it.
Well, I really don't know what else to say other than that's incredibly disappointing because, yeah, I leave tomorrow. I leave Monday. And I don't know. I only got in one Reds game we were supposed to get into. Do I come back here in August and finish what we started? We might have to do that. This is the biggest L we've ever taken in the history of this channel. Just so frustrating, man.
Baseball's first professional franchise, you know the Reds are going to have some statued figures around here, so let's walk around and talk about them. We'll begin at Crosley Terrace. This is the area where Reds legends made their mark at Crosley Field. We'll begin with Joe Nuxhall. He was the youngest player in Major League Baseball history. He first got into league play at 15 years old in 1944. He got to play due to a player shortage caused by World War II. When he got older, he became a consistent pitcher for the Reds. He actually might be more famous for being a beloved radio voice for the team. He was the team's color analyst on the radio from 1967 to 2004. There's even a sign that bears his signature sign-off phrase, "Around third and heading for home," on the third base exterior of the building. Ted Kluszewski was a first baseman known for his incredible hitting power and his low strikeout rate as well. Big Clue hit over 40 home runs in 3 straight years. There were years where he hit a homer more often than striking out. He also wore his jersey without sleeves because his biceps were massive. Frank Robinson is one of the more accomplished men in baseball, having success with multiple franchises. But sticking with his time with the Reds, he won National League Rookie of the Year in 1956 and National League MVP in 1961. Ernie Lombardi was one of baseball's best catchers. Not a lot of catchers are known for their hitting prowess, but Schnoz had one hell of a bat. One of very few catchers in Major League Baseball history to win a batting title, and he did it twice, in 1938 and 42. He would bat over 300 in 10 different seasons, and his career batting average was .306. He was also great at throwing out runners stealing bases as a catcher. Now we move on over to this guy, Pete Rose. The most decorated player in Reds history. A Cincinnati native himself, Rose is the all-time hits leader in Major League Baseball history with 4,256 hits. He broke Ty Cobb's record in 1985, which had stood for 57 years. He also holds the Major League Baseball record for total games played with 3,562. Charlie Hustle was well known not just for his bat, but always sliding head first. He was a key cog and probably the biggest one in the Big Red Machine days in the 1970s. Unfortunately, Rose would be permanently banned from baseball in 1989 for gambling on games, including in games as the Reds manager. Because of that, at this moment, he still hasn't been allowed into the Baseball Hall of Fame. However, following Rose's passing in 2024, he was posthumously reinstated and is eligible once again for enshrinement in Cooperstown. Should Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Always a very hot debate among baseball fans. Another legendary Reds catcher is Johnny Bench. He was the first catcher to win Rookie of the Year in 1968. He won 10 Golden Gloves. He hit 389 home runs and won 2 National League MVPs. Another big cog in the Big Red Machine. Another key player in the machine was Joe Morgan, a 5-time Golden Glove winner, as he was an incredible fielder at second base. He also won National League MVP honors in 1975 and 76, which were both World Series years for the Reds. He hit 268 homers and had 2,517 hits, and also had 689 stolen bases. One more piece in the machine that's honored with a statue here is Tony Perez. The big dog hit 950 RBIs in the 1970s, the second most of any player that decade. He hit 1,652 total RBIs. One of the most consistent hitters baseball has ever seen. Finally, the Reds have one statue that isn't of a player, but rather a broadcaster, and that's legendary Reds radio voice, Marty Brennaman. He was the voice of the Reds from 1974 to 2019, and every time the Reds won, he would say, "And this one belongs to the Reds." He and Joe Nuxhall formed a dynamic duo that Reds fans enjoyed for a long time. Brennaman won the Ford C. Frick Award, which is the highest honor for a baseball broadcaster, in 2000.
If boyhood were a mosaic, it'd be this. A young boy growing up to be a Major League Baseball player. That's pretty darn cool. This is the spirit of baseball, dedicated to the big leaguer in all of us. Follow your dreams, never give up. So this is where Pete Rose, his record-breaking hit to beat Ty Cobb's record, landed right here. This, of course, was back in the Riverfront Stadium days in, September 11th, 1985. Wow. Pretty darn cool. Today is Sunday, May 24th as I'm recording this. And unfortunately, as you can see, the rain, it's been hours since the game was called off, and it still hasn't stopped. So unfortunately, I guess postponing it technically was the right move, but it's so inconvenient for us. So GABP, I sincerely apologize. We are not able to finish this episode in the timeliest of manners, but hope to make it up to you in August. Hope to be back by then. Until then, I'll catch you in a bit.
This game was unbelievable. Trailing 7-0 in the bottom of the 8th, the Reds mounted a magical comeback to take a 3-1 lead in the Ohio Cup. After scoring 4 runs in the 8th, Adam Dunn capped off a 5-run 9th with a walk-off grand salami right down the line to beat the rival Indians 9-8. You had to see this one to believe it. Back to the booth to try to explain what we just saw.
The Reds pulled off what seemed to be the impossible. Trailing 7-0 in the bottom of the 8th, the Reds mounted a magical comeback. After putting 4 runs on the board in the 8th inning, Adam Dunn nearly tore the house down when he launched a walk-off grand slam down the right field line for an improbable 9-8 Reds win. It's one of the beauties of baseball. Until the 27th out is recorded, you just never know.
The pitch, and a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. A high drive into the lower deck and right. Number 30 touches them all, and boy, what a Father's Day gift for Senior. The dugout empties as he rounds third, getting the glad hand from Mark Berry, greeted at home plate by Adam Dunn, and now Jason LaRue, followed by Sean Casey.
Folks, it is August 17th, 2026, and we are so back, baby! So happy I came all the way back from Omaha to be here. On this vlog, we roll with the punches. You know, it was very inconvenient for us to be postponed all the way to August, but we're back. We are ready to play baseball, and we're gonna have a great time. We're gonna finish this baby up. Stay tuned. We're back for game 2. Light crowd today. It's a Monday day game, so yeah, can't expect a heavy crowd here, but we're just very happy to be here, so happy to be back, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of this vlog, or this episode, I should say, and this game. Let's go Reds! So this here is the gap where people from the Great American Tower and the Alta Fiber building, they can look in and see the game. This is a pretty cool feature of this ballpark. That is wonderful. Here's something wacky for you. If any Reds player that hits a home run that hits that Cincinnati sign in between the smokestacks, some lucky fan is going to win that Toyota Tundra pickup. I think it's only ever happened once before in the history of this ballpark, but yeah, it's good to know. Right, top of the first inning update. It's already 2-0 Cards. So Reds got their work cut out for them already in this game. Chance for a strikeout. Foul ball. Triple by the Cards in the second inning. We have a lot of St. Louis fans that have made the trip to Cincinnati for this Monday day game. That is quite impressive. 0-2 count. 1 out. We got the bases loaded. There's the ball. Can the Reds take advantage of this? Marte catches his breath. All right, here comes another 1-2 pitch. Oh, there's room for him to catch this. Yeah. 2 outs. All right. The pond is still full. Brian Hayes up to bat. 0-1 count. See what happens. Two and two. Missed opportunity for the Reds. One burger they've got here at Great American Ballpark is this. This is the Queen City Classic. Looks like a pretty typical cheeseburger. We got double patties, double cheese, American cheese on a potato bun. This looks awesome. Is it awesome? Let's find out.
Are you making a YouTube?
Slightly disappointed in the bun, but the patties taste good. All right, the Queen City Classic. I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Goodbye! That's a home run! Wow!
This here is the Baby Ruth Brownie Sundae. We got the Baby Ruth bits on there. It's vanilla and some chocolate in there. It's very messy. They warned me beforehand, but let's see if it aces the taste test. Creamy. The Baby Ruth, it's adds an interesting twist to it. No pun intended. But it is pretty messy, so it's got to get points docked for that. But it ain't bad. I'll say 7 out of 10. Black raspberry chip ice cream from Grater's. Looks good. Melts a little bit because it's pretty humid out, but that's all right. We normally get chocolate. You know me, I'm a chocoholic, but this looks pretty interesting, and it's yeah, it's something different. We gotta switch things up a little bit on the channel, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. It's rich. It's very good, unintended. I'll give this a very good 8.5 out of 10. Well, pretty uneventful game. We didn't come back for nothing though. It was still very much worth it. Final score on this one was the Cards taking it over the Reds by a score of 2-1. Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you made it this far, you know I really deeply appreciate that. So if you like what you saw, be sure to give this video a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you love sports video content as much as I do. Thank you so much for watching another episode of TST&T. Signing off from the Queen City, from Great American Ballpark, here in the Queen City, I should say. We'll see you in the next episode. Out to the ball game, take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and crackers. I don't care if I never get back for this root for the Reds. If you don't win, it's a shame, it's a damn shame. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Got it! Let's go! Cincinnati River lines across the Mason and Dixon line, and makes me free, I know, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Cincinnati, Ohio. When life punches you in the mouth, you punch back twice as hard. Once again, thanks for tuning in, everyone.